It's 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. Wednesday, January 7th, AD 2026. Hey. So a year ago, they had that crazy fire breakout, which was smoldering from the a fire a week before that, something like that. And I was listening to the radio, and I heard a radio host, a competitor, if you will, say that not mentioned was the fact that the, you know how Trump says, oh, you need to be clearing the brush. Well, they weren't clearing the brush, and they weren't doing controlled burns. You know how they do controlled burns, so that the burns don't go so out of control when the wildfires break out. Well, they weren't doing that, and they weren't clearing the brush because of quote-unquote endangered plants. They put plants before people, alleges one person. And that's not right. And because how are those plants doing now? And on top of that, it was also American Indian land or cultural things. So they didn't want to touch that stuff. It was sensitive area, and there were text messages about, I'm not going to bring a bulldozer on here. I'm too trained. You know how Hake is very trained to be like, I disavow, I disclaim, stuff like that. Plates, you know. Let me turn down myself because I'm yapping here. Does that matter? See, look. Okay, so, yeah, ridiculous. Those fires needn't have been so out of control. There was still a smoldering underground fire. I'm like, how does a fire smolder underground for a week? Terrible. Well, I'll tell you, watch out, those of you who are prone to... Why is it like that? Oh, I guess. Why am I yapping? I don't like this. Yeah, let me skip ahead. There, that's probably good. Those of you who are prone to like seizures from the blinking lights, I learned about that from Jewish people and anti-Jewish people, and Tucker Carlson versus Kurt Eichenwald, or whatever that guy's name was. You deserve a seizure for your views or something like that. Cool globe we got here. Ridiculous. Okay, so that smoldering underground fire, I remember now. That smoldering underground fire happened because there was a dense network of root systems from all those plants that didn't get burned up in controlled burns and cleared out. And even next to and nearby very populous, densely populated, fancy homes in the Pacific Palisades and in around Eaton Canyon, where they had the Eaton fire over in Pasadena, Altadena. Where you at? Where are you? What a mess. So environmentalism hurts the environment and hurts people, and counterproductive. Terrible. Anyway, so that's just the little news. And I do disclaim, can we get a producer? Where's the intro? Calm down, man, please, if you don't mind. Yeah, we can get the intro going. I disclaim everything here, okay? I don't represent myself. My watch no longer stays on my hand. That one of those plastic parts that just broke off when I was trying to replace the band. Now I need to replace the whole head of the watch or whatever you want to call it. Terrible. Didn't last very long. Well, maybe it lasted a little bit, but I don't think it lasted very long. I feel like watches used to last longer now. They just don't build things to last. Planned obsolescence. But I disclaim no endorsement nor opposition to or condemnation of Casio or any other company or entity or whatever. No endorsement nor condemnation of Philip Yancey or who's a Christian liberal author and minister guy. There's some controversy about him. If you want to call it controversy, I don't know, drama, news, people sad, people thinking that they should be mad. Ridiculous. Oh, no endorsement or condemnation of the ridiculous people. Because take everything that you hear with a grain of salt. Info may be false. Attitudes may be false. The spirit may be false. So relax. Take everything with a grain of salt. And I will be taking your calls if you'd like to call in. 1-888-775-3773. Punchy TV today. Okay? American Anchor, baby. And then Punchy TV today. Live. And you can super chat. Some of you may already have started super chatting. Let me check. Oh, indeed. What's up, Walking Roscoe and Eric on Buy Me a Coffee and elsewhere. I should be live on all my platforms. Yes, looks like it. Let me refresh on X before I get going. Anchor Baby is scheduled already, so that's nice. So, what is up, Facebook crew? What is up, Bobby, Blanco, Jep, Frank, Rizzo, Cloud Bob's Golden Rule? Come on, man. Turn up the volume. Is that true? I was listening to American Anchor Baby yesterday, and I was nervous about cranking it to 50. Not to 50. But I turned it up to 50, and it was okay. I was very concerned that something may come in real loud, but overall, I was okay. I was driving. All right, I was driving, and I had them up to 50 in terms of my volume in my car. Very nice. So, anyway, y'all, let's just get right on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hang on!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how y'all doing? I am fine. Thank you for the compliments on my t-shirt. My shirt that's not a t-shirt, actually. I was gonna wear my tan pocket tee, but it was like wrinkly, and I'm like, I don't mind wearing a wrinkly shirt, but I like to be presentable, and I'm like, let me be presentable, especially because we have Punchy TV today. So I won't tell you where I got this. I won't disclose whether it's 100% cotton or part polyester or something ridiculous like that. But enjoy Punchy TV. You can tune in, all right? So fires, environmentalist fires, deadly fires, environmentalist deadly fires, disclaimer, and hey guys, and nice. So quickly, let me get to, if we mosey on over, oh Lord, what did I just do? Okay, I'm fine. If we mosey over to thehakereport.com, there's this button that says YouTube Live, and it'll jump over to watch me on YouTube Live. Since most of you guys watch there, I thought I would put it there. And it jumps to my live stream, or latest live stream. Walking Roscoe says, Happy New Year, Jim and everyone. Double exclamation mark. Let me see if I still have time to do it. Nice. No, I can't. Here, let's see. Does it say the time has expired for you to write? Thanks. What a boomer. All right, so that's nice. And shout out to, of course, Eric, bought 5 coffees, writing, small minds talk about people, good minds talk about events, great minds talk about ideas. And you'll notice we talk about all 3, because we are for small, good, and great minds. The Hake Report. Nice. Nice. Thank you, Eric. So those are your supers. Those are your early coming supers. Coffee. buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report. Appreciate you guys. Now, if we mosey down further, here, let me just go over here to check out my prep, my show prep for what's going on in here. I wanted to just mention this. Far left AP reports, and I'm not going to go too long on this, that the Trump administration is withholding funding for programs that support needy families, so-called, in 5 Democrat states, over concerns about fraud. Justified. The government should not be funding families. Families should be minimally funding the government, and in order to fund, the borders protection and balancing the budget and cutting spending, because we need to be cutting spending and cutting regulations so that we can be free again. They don't need to do that either, but it's ridiculous. As what's his name pointed out yesterday, Alan in Michigan, we don't need to be funding daycares. Why are we funding daycares? So that women can go to work. And women can go to work so that they can pay for daycare, except they can't pay for daycare. So the government, which is to say like the rich people, are paying for the brokies to be irresponsible, basically. Shameful. Ridiculous. So that's that little thing. There's drama right now over Philip Yancey. And I also don't want to spend too much time on this because it's mess. It's mess. But Philip Yancey is a Christian author. If you look him up on far left extremist, Lord. Come on. Oh, Lord. This is terrible. Okay, I just misspelled it, but Philip 1L Yancey, Yancey. He looks sort of like one of those hippies got sort of guys. He's 76 years old, author. I had never seen his face or build or hair prior to working for Jesse Lee Peterson, but I had heard his name because in the mid-90s, they came out with books like The Jesus I Never Knew, or he came out with these books, or What's So Amazing About Grace. I remember these titles, seeing them in my own house, because I feel like my mother bought books like these. I don't remember Disappointment with God, but these are 80s and 90s. The Jesus I Never Knew, 1995. What's So Amazing About Grace, 1997. Prayer, Does It Make Any Difference? Where Is God When It Hurts? I've heard about that. 1977, wow. So in the 70s. And he looks like a 70s guy. Doesn't he look like that guy, Bob Ross, or whatever that guy, painter fellow? So basically, and he's a writer, 76 years old, born in 49. And I think he used to be a journalist, according to this Wikipedia page. Born in Atlanta, grew up in nearby suburbs. Father got polio when he was 1 year old. When who was 1 year old? When Philip was 1 year old? When Philip's father was 1 year old? Stricken with polio. Okay, so I guess as an adult father, man, his father got stricken with polio when Philip, young baby Philip, 1-year-old, is a 1-year-old baby, died after church members suggested he go off life support in faith that God would heal him. Wow, what a mess. Negative experiences with rigid conservative fundamentalist church background contributed to his losing his faith at one point and deeply questioning the established church over times. High school, he attended Columbia Bible College in South Carolina, met his wife, Janet. And in Chicago, Illinois suburbs, joined Campus Life magazine staff, a publication, so he became sort of a journalist and writer, editor-at-large for 3 decades for Christianity Today. Christianity Today, a liberal, so-called Christian outlet, interviewed as a journalist 2 U.S. presidents, other notable people. Bono, is it Bono or Bono of U2? Is he Irish? Christian guy. And U2 is that band from the 80s. It's still going, I guess. Billy Graham, authors Annie Dillard, whoever that is, and others. Henry Nguyen. Former President Jimmy Carter called Yancey my favorite modern author. He would. Jimmy Carter, famously a Christian, but a liberal, a Democrat. Rest in peace. I think he died, right? Has Jimmy Carter died? Jimmy Carter was. That means he died. And I'm checking Wikipedia, okay? Got a broken neck in 2007, but he recovered. Philip Yancey we're talking about. Diagnosed in the fall of 22 with Parkinson's. Ooh. He described it as the gift I didn't want. Imagine that. Parkinson's is what Michael J. Fox famously has. Michael J. Fox, perpetually young looking for a while. Back to the Future actor. Teen Wolf. I didn't see that one. But then he got that and he looked young but old. And Parkinson's, I think you get like the shakes and difficult with motor skills. So he's written all these books, blah, 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 70s, 80s, 90s, and even to today, or 2024, 2023, 2021. But if you look, there's this drama right now. In a statement emailed to Christianity Today on January 6th, just yesterday, Yancey confessed that he had engaged in an affair with a married woman for 8 years and would retire from writing and speaking. And so there's all this drama going on among the, I don't think of this guy as a liberal. I don't even know if he's a Christian or not. He was on the JLP show. David A. French says, horrible. This is how I found out about this. Because I got a push notification or a notification on my X.com, formerly known as Twitter. David A. French writes, horrible. I'm sad as well. Because some other guy says, this one makes me sad. But I think we should also be angry. For 8 years, the man was in an active adulterous relationship while engaging in ministry. Inexcusable. And he quote tweets this Dr. Aaron New person who says, oh man, this one makes me sad. Author Philip Yancey, according to Christianity Today, headline, confesses affair, withdraws from ministry. And I don't quite get about the sadness or the anger. I get that you're supposed to be above reproach if you're a Christian or if you're a leader or whatever. 76-year-old man, Parkinson's. And I don't know when this thing took place, but drama. And I look over on Reddit, too. I got a push notification from my Reddit, reddit.com/r/Hake. Drama. Author Philip Yancey confesses affair, withdraws from ministry. The writer said he will retire from speaking and writing, and he grieves the devastation I have caused. Devastation? You were just sleeping around with that gal. It's just you and her and the husband whom the wife committed adultery against, and your wife, I guess, if his wife is still living. And that's him. And my other introduction to Philip Yancey was this. Let's see if I have it handy. Because in 2016, I realized that he's a liberal. And of course he's a liberal. Look at him. And also he's a writer. All writers are liberal. Let's find out if I can find this. Yes. So here he is, baffled at the support for Trump. How would you describe the way, this is back in 2016, how would you describe the way that evangelicals, Christians in the USA, see the 2016 presidential election? Here's what he says.
Well, I will show my own bias. I am staggered that so many conservative or evangelical Christians would see a man who is a bully, who made his money by casinos, who has had several wives and several affairs, that they would somehow paint him as a hero, as someone that we could stand behind. I'll just say it out loud. I can't understand how evangelical, I can understand, well, maybe you choose these policies that you support. Okay, I understand that. But to choose a person who stands against everything that Christianity believes as the hero, the representative, one that we get behind enthusiastically, is not something I understand at all.
So that was Philip Yancey on the 2016 support for Donald J. Trump. This was a clip from September 30th we played, or I played, or some, no, I wouldn't have played that because that was before I started the Hake report. Judging Trump. And here's another one.
And frankly, I think the church in the United States, as the more it embeds with politics, the more it, shall we say, hitches a ride with politics, Europeans understand where that goes. When the church and the state are seen like this, and then the state proves what it is, which is a flawed, sometimes corrupt system, then the church is judged by and rejected in the same way the state. There are countries in Europe that you know where the church is set back for decades and decades because they have been stained by the way they sold their soul for power, I would say. And as the United States grows more and more secular, I tell the people there, I tell my people, we are becoming more like the fertile soil in which the early church did best, like the Roman Empire. This was a pagan, hostile society, and yet Christians stood out by being different. When you're in a place like the United States or Europe in its recent past, where the majority would claim to be Christians, but they look like everybody else, then people don't understand what the gospel is. If they look radically different from the world around them, people can see that difference.
Whatever. Okay, so that's Philip Yancey, a liberal Christian. No different from anybody. And people are mad about it, that he's not different from anybody. But I don't get judging Trump or judging Philip Yancey over his whatever he supposedly did. I don't get it. Because Trump is not standing against anything Christian, or never was. Well, he was a little bit wilder back in the day. I went after her like a... So he wrote, I heard, according to the people who like to dredge up his past, or his supposed past. Mess. Sounds like a psychopath to me, says Golden Rule TV. A mess. Is he a small mind talking about people? Or is he a great mind talking about ideas? So that's your Philip Yancey news. People are crazy. Let me get to a call or two here. You can call in 1-888-775-3773. Ronnie in Ohio is on the line here. Ronnie, thank you for calling and holding, sir. What's up?
My brother Hake, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, sir. And to you.
Yep, the show is it's off to a good start this year. We've had a lot of racist people call in, and I'm glad they feel comfortable enough to share their ignorance. So
racist?
I want to thank you for the
ignorance.
I want to thank you for the platform, and hopefully they can keep calling in and proving that those type of people do exist.
What type of people?
The ignorant, racist ones that some of my colleagues don't believe really truly exist. The ones that hate black people because they're black, or they just hate, and they kind of rationalize the reason that they do hate, and they try to justify it. I have colleagues that don't think that those people truly exist, so I put them onto your show, and it opens their mind, and it proves me to be not a liar as they used to accuse me of being.
Wow. And these are people in your personal life who are you're encouraging them to judge guys like David and Ocala? No, and no.
Okay. I'm not encouraging them to hate or anything like that. I'm trying to.
But who hates black people for being black? Who is called into my show this year?
This year, nobody this year.
Oh, okay.
I'm waiting on Mark from Los Angeles to call in. But he's got a couple
hate black
people
for being black?
I've had plenty of conversations with him, and he's spoken on the fact that he's even admitted to being a racist. So I won't.
Right, but even racists, so-called, don't hate black people for being black.
They hate black people.
Yes.
Let's just leave it at that. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole with you and have a semantics fight.
All right, because it's not semantics; it's the motives that you're misattributing.
Well, yeah. So I have colleagues that are in denial about there being white people that hate black people in the world. So,
okay. All right.
Yeah. So, like I said, I appreciate your platform and you giving them a
nice.
a comfortable, safe space for them to vent how frustrated they are with and express their black fatigue and how much they wish people who are in the country would just leave so that they can feel better.
Wouldn't it be nice for America to be America again? I was listening to American Anchor Baby, and he was playing this body cam footage, I guess, of a cop discussing a situation with a Cinnabon employee. Remember that Cinnabon gal Cinnabon Karen, if you will?
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces of it yesterday.
That was so crazy that I'm sorry, I thought this was America. But you can get arrested for getting mad and saying words to some people who are baiting you. It takes two to tango, You're both wrong, but there's no arrest due for that, in my view. I thought this was America. I thought it was a free country. But no, you have to go to the Hake report to be somewhat free, and even here, you're not free.
Exactly. Yeah, like I said, I appreciate you giving them that safe space.
Of course.
Some people think that America they just have they have a wrong understanding of what America is.
Okay.
So when you say you want America to go back to being America, I don't know when it stopped being America.
Well, there was a guy who got arrested remember the no N-word zone guy in like Arizona or somewhere? I forget whether he was Japanese or what, but he had a disabled wife, and he approached this YouTuber guy or whatever he was, black dude, and said, "We've had problems here. This is a no N-word zone." And
I don't remember that.
Oh, you don't? Oh, wow.
Nah. Oh, you mean not this is a place where you can't say the N-word. He's saying that this is a place where if you are an N-word, you're not allowed.
Right.
Understood.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those places like that in America.
And that guy who said that got arrested, if I remember correctly.
I mean, it is America. If a police
That's
officer
not
tells
America.
you that you're if a police officer in America tells you you're under arrest, then you're under arrest.
Right, but that's not America.
Comply or die. That's what we do in America. Even if you don't, even if you think the cop is wrong, the cop is never wrong. Blue lives matter. You need to obey the cop, comply or die.
Well, you definitely should comply, and not. Yeah, you don't want to die. I mean, some people do want to die. Some of these black people, especially, seem to have a death wish or don't care about their own or others' lives when they're mad. I get that. I understand. But I'm talking about in America, you have the freedom of speech. And yeah, you should act right and not cause a disturbance. But to be arrested for a overall self-controlled little run-in situation between two gentlemen, not very gentle, but gentlemen, it's ridiculous. So that's not,
understood.
That's not the right way of that America should be if we truly did have a First Amendment.
Yeah, and my point is that black people have been subject to that for decades, of being told that this is America, and if a cop tells you to do something, you're supposed to do it. So I don't care if the two people that you saw in the video, if you saw a video of two people that you look like, that you thought nobody should have gotten arrested, maybe you should wait for the whole video to come out before you render a decision.
Oh, so you're not familiar with this story at all?
Nope.
Yeah, no,
but
this is old. This is
America,
an old story. And the whole backstory and front story came out, and this is America, and this is not America.
The cop was found to be wrong?
What do you mean the cop was found to be wrong?
I'm asking, was the cop found to be in the wrong?
I don't know what you mean by found to be wrong.
When you described it, it sounded as if you were saying that the cop overstepped his boundaries or said somebody was in trouble when they shouldn't have been in trouble.
The cop himself, like Anchor Baby said, was doing what the politicians have established be the case, that you don't have a First Amendment, that you don't have the freedom of speech.
Yeah,
especially
and
if
in
you're
America,
especially if you're speaking to a black person. A black person is automatically a victim in a confrontation.
That's not true.
In that case, in these two incidents that I'm talking about, in this type of situation, yes, it is.
Oh, so just those two specific ones.
In these types of situations.
That's not the norm for the rest of the 7 or 8 billion people on the planet. You're just talking about just those two specific cases.
I'm talking about it is the norm. It's the norm.
That's not the norm.
You don't even know what the situation is. You're not even familiar with these stories.
You tried to say that the norm is that black people are victims if they get into a confrontation. And
yeah, they play victim, and everybody plays like they're victims.
And that's not the norm.
Yeah, it is. It's a norm for black people to play victim.
It's normal for black people to play victim.
Yeah. It's not normal, but it's typical. And it has become the norm. It has become to be expected. George Floyd, Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, and then this YouTuber guy who was told this is a no N-word zone. And then those Somalis or whoever they were who confronted that gal who was out of her mind playing victim at the Cinnabon. It's so common, and it's been common for decades. I think that you're ignorant about stuff that's going on in America today, seemingly.
It's very possible that I am. It's very possible that I am.
You got some blind spots there. It's right in front of your face. But I get it.
Yeah,
I think I get it.
Yeah, you've been trying to tell me about blind spots, but usually when you bring up a topic where you say I'm blind, you usually fail.
Oh, of course. I mean, there's no convincing a blind person. It's easier to lie to a man than to convince him he's been lied to. So said some liberal guy, Mark Twain, I think.
Well, I'm saying that you didn't fail because you didn't reveal something to me. I mean, you failed because you think I'm blind to something where I'm actually not blind in it, and you're the one that's being blind.
Oh, okay.
Like for instance, when you tried to say that Trump was our greatest president, and then I asked you who was second or third or fourth, and you couldn't really name anybody. I'm like, okay, Hake is just expressing his opinion that when he sees Trump speaking, or I mean, when he sees Trump on TV or he hears Trump speaking, it makes him feel good. So that means that Hake says he's the best president ever because he made him feel the best, or he was the best at making Hake feel good. So I can't help you there.
The truth is,
I can't help you there.
The truth is thrilling, but I don't call you blind for not agreeing that he's our greatest president. I call you blind for not seeing the brilliance and truth that Trump stands for.
Oh, I saw the brilliance when he took over the Republican Party in 2015. I was like, this is brilliant.
Brilliant in a good way.
Good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent, doesn't matter. It was brilliant in the fact that somebody who was an outsider, it was brilliant how somebody who was an outsider could get on stage with a bunch of other candidates, some who had zero shot at winning, others who assumed that they would get the nomination in 2015. How he just kind of pushed them all to the stage, pushed them all off the stage and took over their party.
But you're looking at it sounds like you're looking at results and crying brilliance when I'm talking about the brilliance of the spirit and attitude and truth.
Yeah, I'm speaking factually, and you're kind of speaking on it from the emotional part of it.
That's not emotion. You're speaking on results, but that doesn't.
Yeah,
results don't indicate brilliance. That's like saying Obama's brilliant because he won 2 terms as president.
I mean, you got to be brilliant to win 2 terms, especially 2 terms in a row. Not even Trump could do that.
See, that would be called what Mays calls bright. He's real bright.
Yeah, that's what I was pointing at. The fact that Trump, who was an outsider, could get into a party and kick Ted Cruz out, kick Marco Rubio out, move Jeb Bush off the edge of the stage, keep Carly Fiorina from being able to win the nomination as a woman. To see what he did in 2015, it was brilliant.
Yeah, but that's not the type of brilliance that I'm talking about. You're talking about facts. I'm talking about truth. Maybe. Absolutely.
I'm definitely talking about facts, but I'm not sure if you're talking about truth. Real quick before I end up, because like I said, I don't want to hold up the line.
All right.
Are you in agreement with Trump's not invasion into Venezuela? I know some people have painted it that way because we sent military people down there to bring back their president. Some people have said we've invaded Venezuela and kidnapped their president. But do you agree with the move?
I suppose I agree with it.
Okay. You ain't thought about it long enough.
I mean, what's to think about? I don't really care. But I do like that he made that move. It was a brilliant move in that it shook things up. It showed that he's crazy and don't mess with him because he's serious and he'll do unexpected things. He likes to be unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
And so it seemed like the right move. There's a lot of reasons behind why it's an interesting and possibly even good move because it puts a lot of people on notice. It takes away a pipeline, if you will, of oil to these terrorists and supposed enemies of ours, Russia, China, Iran, I guess. Some of these terrorists, so-called groups that Iran supposedly funds. And so that's interesting. And then Cuba, too. Cubans were even supporting that guy. And so these commies, these foreign commies and foreign enemies, if you will, are cut off. And we stand, hopefully, to benefit, as do the Venezuelan people. So it's a popular move. It's not a costly to American lives move at this point. And 80 people died. That's a shame, but that's sometimes what happens, you know, when you're working security like that. You end up dying. And so I think it's very interesting. I can see why Maduro's kind of successful. He's like, Happy New Year in his perp walk. That was funny.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on it?
I'm really concerned with how China might interpret this and how Russia
China
might
was
interpret
there,
it.
I heard.
I mean, they're everywhere. They're even in the United
No,
States.
no,
they
literally
got spies running around D.C. Like, they're everywhere. If you
No, I'm
say
talking
that part
about
of it.
the China dignitaries or somebody were over there visiting the president, Maduro, or something like that, the very day or day before or whatever, night, evening, whatever, that this thing went down. I heard.
Yeah, that part I didn't. Yeah, that I didn't know about. Yeah, I didn't know what other countries might have had delegates visiting Venezuela. That I haven't heard. But I'm speaking specifically on we justified going into another country and taking their president. So I don't see how we can point the finger at China and say you're not allowed to go into Taiwan. I don't see how we can point the finger at Russia and say you can't go into Ukraine, because it'll make us look like hypocrites. And if they say that if our whole motive is this is our hemisphere, this is to protect the best interests, the best national interests of the United States, then what prevents China from taking the same approach or Russia from continuing to take the same approach?
Because you needn't be concerned with looking like a hypocrite. Those are three completely different situations. And so we do what we can. We don't have to play about looking like a hypocrite, because Trump does what is morally right. And morally, I think that was the right thing to do. It doesn't seem wrong to me. And tactically and politically, it seemed right. And you, as I mentioned to my caller yesterday, I think, maybe Timothy, you pick and choose when you go in and do this. So those guys are going to do whatever they can. And, you know, you seem to be joining in with the liberals who want to preemptively give an excuse to people who, like China, who would want to go in and take Taiwan and point to us and say, oh, we did it, so how can't we? So why can't they? That's don't be a worrywart.
Yeah, that's not. That's not what I said. Yeah, so that's not what I said, and I didn't use the word worry.
No, but you're worrying. You're concerned
agree,
about the future. That's worry.
Concern is not worry. Concern
yes, it is.
Concerned is somebody that's seen what's happened historically, and then anytime history seems to be repeating itself, you can pay attention to the details.
So my point you're concerned about the future. That's called worry.
Concern might just, maybe the better word would be aware of and paying attention to.
But you're not fully aware if you're trying to act like Taiwan would be the same situation or even a comparable situation.
It is comparable.
Only in very select surface details, but it's not actually comparable.
No, so it's 100% comparable when you look at the premise of a big superpower invading small country because of the need to protect their own national interests.
Those are
select
surface details. You just proved me right. Those are not.
I will give you specifics. So it's not in China's best interest for Taiwan to be selling us chips.
Right.
So if they wanted to invade Taiwan, hold on, let me finish. So if they wanted to invade Taiwan to prevent them from selling us chips, it would be the same situation.
No, it wouldn't.
I'm not here to convince you of it because you're going to be hell-bent on disagreeing, but I'm just telling you that it's the same thing. Superpower invades smaller country to keep them from doing international business outside of their hemisphere.
That's called shallow, selective, superficial, fake parallel.
My brother, you can call it whatever you want.
Is what it is. Did Taiwan have a election that the so-called international community called fraudulent?
No.
Then it's not at all the same situation. Did Taiwan get
accused
of selling stuff to terrorists on the black market and to China's enemies on the black market?
It's not the same exact situation, and it'll never be the same exact situation. But
it's not the same at all.
Hold on, but to say that they're completely different is wrong. I never said that they were exactly. I never said that they were exactly the same, and they are quite different.
You said 100%.
I didn't say that. Now you said that you used 100%.
You said 100%, buddy.
You said they're completely different. I never said they're completely the same. I said they're similar.
Right, and I gave you the
shallow
aspect
details.
And
I gave you the aspect and how they're similar.
Right.
I even gave you specifics.
Right.
I didn't, like I said, I didn't call to argue with you. And you don't have to fabricate it, or you don't have to accuse me of saying something that I didn't say.
No, you said 100%, and then you said in that superpower, there's computer chips.
Yes, I gave you the similarity. I didn't need to lay out the difference, even though I pointed out some differences, and so did you. But you said they're completely different.
They are different.
Wrong.
All right.
They are different. They're not completely different. That's where you were wrong.
Yes, huh? Completely different situations.
You said yes, huh? Oh, man. Last point before I get off. I saw you started the show with showing some disagreement with giving money to needy families.
Yes.
Are you in agreement with giving Argentina $20 to $40 billion?
I don't know. For what?
You're not familiar with the story?
Nope.
From last November, October?
Nah. I only like to follow drama stories that are interesting.
It's not interesting to you that Trump sent $20 to $40 billion to Argentina to bail them out?
I hadn't heard of it. To bail them out?
Okay, so since you're not familiar with the story, would you be in support of Trump sending $20 to $40 billion to Argentina?
I don't know.
So it's definitely not okay to feed needy American families.
No,
but
that's not what the government's for.
But you're not sure whether or not it's okay to send $20 to $40 billion to Argentina.
For one, they're not even actual families that these people are in many cases. And two, a family should take care of itself. The father and mother should take care of themselves. And if we had a freer country, they would be able to, the economy would be better and they would be able to take care of themselves. But we have a socialist country where the more you take care of people, the more you have to take care of people. And similar with the more women work, the more women so-called have to work, wives and mothers and stuff like that. So it's a spiraling and corrupt and evil situation in which there's a lot of fraud and abuse, and it shouldn't even be happening at all. I'm with Alan in Michigan on that. So, and then the Argentina situation, I have no idea what it's for or what the situation is.
Okay, so it would be a hard no for American families getting funding, but it's a yes, no, or maybe when it comes to sending $40 billion down to Argentina.
It's called an I don't know that situation. I can't comment.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a hard no when it comes to American families in need.
No, you said it's a yes, no, or maybe. I can't comment at all.
That means you can't. You right. It's a yes or no or a maybe.
No,
You're not sure. You don't know. It's all the same thing.
It's
it
not
a hard
the same
no?
Thing.
Okay, let's do it simple. Is it a hard no when it comes to sending money to Argentina? Is that a hard no to send $40 billion down to Argentina, or is it a maybe? It might be okay.
I don't know. I notice, Ronnie, that you and Popcorn and many others try to bring up other situations.
It's an easy question to answer, Hake.
I did, and I answered with an easy I don't know.
Right. So that means that it might. So that means that it might be okay, and it might not be okay.
I noticed that you and Popcorn and many others, blacks particularly, tend to try to find a inconsistency, to try to cry hypocrisy or something.
No, that's not what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for.
That's what you did with China. For clarity. That's what you did with China and Taiwan versus America and Venezuela. That's what you do all the time, where black people versus white people, and how white people act with white people, and how black people act with black people, and all that. It's always about a fake double standard.
You got me confused with somebody else.
You literally brought up how when I said, "Oh, this is America," you're like, "Oh, the cops are treating black men differently."
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, black men have to comply. This is America. You comply or die.
I didn't say that about black people or white people or anything. I said that about all people when it comes to cops. You said America's not America anymore, and I said the last time I checked, in America, if a cop gives you an instruction, you're supposed to follow it. And you were bringing up a situation where the cop may or may not have been wrong when it came to two dudes arguing.
It wasn't even about a situation. It was about the freedom of speech, not to go to jail or get charged with a crime. If a cop tells you don't have freedom of speech anymore, the cop says you don't have freedom of speech. We're in America. You're supposed to obey the cops. Comply or die. It has nothing to do. The statement was already said long before a cop showed up, but you don't know the situation, but you're trying to comment.
The only thing I commented on was when you brought up the fact that America might not be America anymore. And I said, as far as I can see it, America has always been America.
Linya and Chin is right about you.
To wrap it up, when it comes to sending money to needy American families, you are a hard no. But when it comes to Argentina, you don't know if it's okay to send them $40 billion or not.
You are a tangent rider, says Linya and Chin.
I'm glad Linya and Chin has an opinion about me.
No, it's not an opinion. It's an observation.
I'm glad Linya and Chin has an observation about me. There you go with the semantics again. Unfortunately, I don't have the same thing when it comes to him. Semantics with you. Linya and Chin has an observation about me. Unfortunately, I can't say the same thing about him.
Right.
But I gave you the opportunity to see if it was going to be some fortitude when it comes to finances, and sadly, you let me down.
You sad because you trying to pretend like I'm inconsistent?
I'm not sad. The situation is sad. That's why I said
what's sad about?
I didn't say I'm.
What's sad about fake inconsistency?
If I was sad, I would have said I'm saddened. I'm not saddened by it. I'm not even really surprised.
A situation is not sad or happy.
You have an issue with funding going to needy American families, but
right.
You may or may not have an issue with $40 billion going down to Argentina with no explanation because Trump did it, and that's amazing to me.
You don't even know anything.
I know the story. You don't know that story,
right?
And I didn't even want to go into the details with it.
Condemn it.
I'm not expecting you to condemn it.
Yeah.
I didn't expect you to condemn it. I didn't ask you to condemn it.
Be sad.
And I'm not sad. Lord, your understanding and comprehension skills need a little bit of work. I ain't giving up on you yet, though, my brother.
All right, Ronnie.
Yes, sir. I want to make time for some racist ignoramuses to call in, so I appreciate you. Have a good start to the year, and have a good rest of your week, my brother.
All right. Have a good one, racist ignoramus.
I love them. I appreciate them, and I appreciate
I'm talking about you.
Platforms. I'm not racist.
Yeah, you are. And you're an ignoramus.
No, I'm not.
How are you not racist ignoramus?
I don't speak on things I'm ignorant about. If I'm ignorant about something, I ask questions, I do research. I don't just render opinions and pass judgment.
Okay.
And I'm not racist because I don't think that a specific person based on their race is going to have this, that, or the third when it comes to their character. I don't make assumptions about people based on their race.
Oh, okay.
Once I get to know them and I see what their character is like and how they interact with people, cool. And I will tell you that 99% of the people that I interact with are good human beings. I know you think all humans are evil, but the humans that I've come into contact with, they're not like that. And people who are evil, they're not evil because they're black. They're not evil because they're white. They're just, if they're evil, it's because they're evil. And it's not going to be based on their race. Racist people would disagree with me on that, though. They'll tell you that people are bad because of their skin color, or their skin color makes them bad. It's a circular argument, but I don't put those labels on people because of their race. So you don't have to apologize for wrongfully calling me racist, but you can keep it. And again, if I'm ignorant about something, I ask questions and I keep my mouth shut until I learn about it.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ronnie, take care.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay. Let's see what I can do here. Oh, Lord. TheHakeReport.com. Let me mosey on back down and get back to the show here. I had told you guys, if we covered this on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, about notable public figures who experienced bullying or assault by black peers in school. I had told you about this on the Hake Report way back, some months back. Henry Rollins, the punker. Adam Carolla, I had not known about that. Larry David, I didn't know about that. Rob Schneider, I did not know about that. I didn't even really know who that was. But I think he spoke at a TPUSA event, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And then not just him, but Eminem, a Trump hater, Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, and Tom Segura. All of these comedians and public figures and rapper and movie stars, TV show makers, funny guys, podcast, radio hosts, conservatives, liberals, far left extremist, punk rock, writer, people, Jewish people, whites, all beat up in D.C., North Hollywood, Brooklyn, New York. If we keep on going down, San Francisco, Detroit, Newark, New Jersey. That's where that guy's from, the Spartacus guy. Canton, Massachusetts, Los Angeles, and many, many other places. And these are just like the tip of the iceberg in terms of white kids getting beat up by black kids over generations. Larry David is not a young man. And none of these guys are young men. But this has been happening since the 70s, 80s, maybe even 60s. Larry David, age 78 years old. What? Born in 47. So maybe in the late 50s, early 60s, getting beat up by the black kids. Predominantly black public school. Would that make sense? Or would that be early to mid 60s, maybe when he was in high school? Crazy. Who knew? Who knew? And I only knew about this because the great, late Colin Flaherty talked about Henry Rollins admitting that he had gotten beat up a lot. And what do many of these guys do? Some of them liberals, some of them somewhat conservative or sensible with regard to the race issue. They're not kissing up to Black Lives Matter or the lies about. Some of them are, probably all of them would kiss up to the lies about racism a little bit because of the brainwashing and the emotionalism. But that's so crazy. What a mess. Also a mess is Mickey Rourke. I really admire Mickey Rourke. In one sense, at all. So, notable figures beat up in school. Mickey Rourke, I don't even really know who this guy is, but I've heard the name. He's this old guy, he's not that old. He's only in his 70s, I guess. Rourke with Ric Flair in WrestleMania XXV 25, right? Whenever that was. Was he in that movie, The Wrestler, which I didn't see? 2007 Cannes Film Festival. Look at him in the 80s. All handsome. But he's gotten older. He's 76 or something like that. Dated several celebrities. But the news about him recently, I was hearing it on the radio yesterday, after American Anchor, baby, was that he had fallen behind with his rent, like $60,000. his landlord filed an eviction notice. And his publicist or manager or somebody, with his permission, started a GoFundMe, although he didn't really understand it, I guess. And it reached its goal like over almost $100,000 within 2 days. He was angry at what he called unsolicited help. And that's funny to me. I wonder if I can hit continue on this LA Times thing. Rejects $100,000 pledged by his fans as his manager explains the eviction backstory. And that's LA Times, so whatever. Go away, Guardian, you far left haters, foreigners. I wouldn't take a nickel of charity. Cover your eyes, kids, don't read this word. Mickey Rourke. Is he Irish? Denounces a fundraiser set up in his name. Denying any prior knowledge of the appeal, the actor said he would rather stick a gun up his and pull the trigger than accept the money. And I like him because this is such a boomer move. You know how boomers don't understand this technology stuff? He posted a video on social media, and I can't really play it because he cusses, I think. But
dogs.
He's into dogs.
This is Lucky. This is Mickey Rourke. And something's come up that I'm really
Cover your ears, kids.
frustrated, confused, and I don't understand. Somebody set up some kind of foundation or fund for me to donate money, like charity.
Uh-huh.
And that's not me, okay?
Nice. Base boomer.
I needed money. I wouldn't ask for no fucking...
Oh, cover your ears, kids. So anyway, he's like, that's not my style. And ladies cuss more than men now, seemingly. Cat Power even liked it. Isn't that nice? Right on, Mickey. But he doesn't like Trump, so I don't like him. Look at this. He supported some guy from the IRA, Provisional Irish Republican Army, to come over here or something like that in the United States, Doherty. He supported George W. Bush in the Iraq War. So I'm like, okay, he's a sensible guy, sort of, even though, like, a lot of sensible guys fell for that stuff, right? He liked Putin. He wore a Putin T-shirt in 2014 when Putin went into Crimea. He's like, I like the guy. I've met him a couple of times, a real gentleman, very cool, regular guy, looked me right in the eye, good guy. And then he since denounced Putin for his role in the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. You know, speaking of, side note, I think Putin might envy Trump because Trump did to Venezuela, perhaps, what Putin wished he could have done to the Ukraine. And what would have been much nicer, I would have been in support of it. You know, just capture Zelensky or something, you know. And because some might say, oh, the CIA put Zelensky in office. And Putin should have done that and grabbed Zelensky and put him in trial. and then back to pro-Russian Ukrainian leadership. That would have been nicer, and maybe the Ukrainian people would have appreciated that more than all this death and killing that's been going on for years. So Trump does what Putin wishes he could do. But kind of like what my argument with Ronnie is two completely different situations, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But I like Trump because he does things with strength, and overall he keeps the peace, which is good, and brings more peace, not less. In 2015, Mickey Rourke liked Ben Carson for president. For 2016, you know. He denounced Trump as a bully. Oh, Lord. Liberal, mama. And he has dogs. And he's fallen on hard times. He had a personal vendetta against Trump after an incident in which Trump sued both Mickey Rourke and Tupac Shakur in the 90s. Huh. Rourke's been very vocal in his criticisms of Trump's presidency, calling him a garbage can president. In 2022, Rourke claimed that Trump had sent the United States Secret Service to visit him as a result of his comments on Trump. Funny. And he supported Biden over that. He supported, what's her name? Kamala Harris. Embarrassing. Oh, for the vice president, anyway. Oh, and he claimed that he voted for Biden and Harris. Said it's the first time that he had ever voted. It's horrible. Oh, he's known as a good Catholic. I like Catholics, especially like Irish Catholics. You know, Irish and maybe some Italian Catholics. Even the Latino Catholics. So shout out Mickey Rourke. He used to be a boxer. Look at all that. So maybe that's why he's a little bit messed up in the head. I don't know. But what a mess. Born in 1952. So he's sort of a young man. He's in his 70s. But he's not nearly Trump's age. Trump is 79. Gonna be 80 this year if he makes it. Shout out Mickey Rourke, not wanting the charity. Big contrast to these lamos who just take charity like crazy. All right, that includes, although Mickey Rourke is already, he's made a fortune, lost a fortune, made a fortune, lost a fortune. He knows that this is America. And I like the old school way of not wanting charity. Many a black, many a white, many a person has been into these GoFundMe things. And it's so crazy. They start GoFundMes and a whole bunch of the community rallies to support like jewelry stores, little mom and pop, really pop, jewelry stores where the dad's doing it, running this jewelry store. So that get robbed multiple times up in like Sacramento. I heard this news report and an interview with this guy with an accent. He ran a jewelry store and he got $20,000 worth of rings stolen, I think. Jewelry rings, finger rings, I presume. I think. Stolen. And they tried to break in again. And there was one time where he didn't know if they had a gun, so he didn't want to fight them. And he's behind a month on rent. And it's hard times. Thanks a lot. Easy on crime, California. Evil. Terrible. But you can't have a GoFundMe is not going to fix that. How about we stop the crime in the first place? Put people in jail for taking less than $1,000 worth of stuff? Not have 911 be a joke in your town? Hat tip to those rappers. GoFundMes. All this charity stuff is not going to make up for just good business and crime law enforcement. What a mess. I noticed that there's like a lot of losers who have their big criticisms of winners. Like Trump. And I respect losers. But there's like a blindness and a personal hatred. That's the thing I don't like about these Irish, like Mickey Rourke. He has a personal issue, he revealed. That's his motivation for not liking Trump. That's not right. Calm down, All right, so that's that. Haters. I have more things that I wanted to hit on. Let me read some super chats. We are past the top of the hour here. If I get to... Lord have mercy. So much is going on. Eric bought 5 coffees. Doing anything self-consciously is gay. NJF. Yup. As in weak. Effeminate. Self-consciously, not... I have been conflicted about this term, self-consciously, because conscious is kind of a good thing. Ever since I was a kid, I learned this term, like self-conscious. But it's more like self-unconscious into self. Keyword into being self. And how you're perceived and stuff. Because self-conscious is like, oh, man, I'm feeling awkward. And then you do something motivated by that awkwardness. Motivated by that embarrassment. To get out of it or to whatever. Indeed, NJF. I hadn't heard that, Eric. I'm with you on that, I think. The most normal people are selfless. Trump, JLP, Jesus. They're just doing what they're supposed to do and saying what they're supposed to say. Living. NJF. Shout out. Our future president. Very cool. So much better, too. I was talking with a guy over Christmas vacation, and he said, you know, Hake, you know, James, it makes me comfortable watching you be comfortable. And I get that. Right on. Eric, thank you, sir. Self-consciousness is a mess. Coffee. Self-conscious. Let me double check on the super chats over here. Nice. Thank you, Walking Roscoe, once again. Mickey Rourke. His estimated net worth, by the way, was $50,000 per celebrity net worth. He had a $60,000 unpaid rent. Wow, that's a lot. He was estimated at $5 million in early 2025 per AI. Elsewhere, it said he was estimated at $10 million in early 2025. He was getting residuals and all kinds of stuff. What a mess. What a mess. So shout out Mickey Rourke. I found that footage of this guy, Jim. He was playing this TV show called Jack Ryan. This is the guy who was talking about Venezuela. He's like, who's our biggest enemy? And it's so corny. It's so contrived and corny. But this conservative gal, Kaya Jones, I think she's a singer gal, right? Something like that. Pro-Trump, something like that.
What would you assume is the most major threat on the world stage? Anybody, just call it out. You don't have to raise your hand.
Definitely Russia.
Definitely Russia. That's confident. I like it. Who says?
And it's so cringy. Ugh. And is anybody else? China. Stop yelling at me, China. And it's so embarrassing. They talk about North Korea, but then what he says is that Maduro, but he doesn't call him Maduro, he calls him Reyes, but he calls him Nicholas. He won on a wave of nationalist pride. Nationalist pride. And then he decimated their economy by half. They have all this oil. They have all this gold, more than Africa and the Middle East. And he messed up their economy. Nationalist. Evil Hollywood. I think this is an Amazon Prime TV show. And They're acting, that's the guy, wave of nationalist pride. And he crippled the national economy by half. He raised the poverty rate by almost 400 something. Luckily for the rest of us, he's up for re-election. And then he puts a woman, Gloria Bonaldi, some fake name, right? She has a history professor, but her greatest asset, social justice platform. And the best thing about her is she's not an, don't read that, kids. And that's what I was talking about, is you need men who are able to be tough. You don't want a social justice woman. That's the woman who's going to run the country into the ground. Ridiculous. Embarrassing. But he's walking around all confidently in his tight shirt. And they're all, oh, his dialogue is awesome. Don't harass her. When Hollywood speaks truth, no one listens. But he wasn't really speaking truth. He was just giving a little bit of facts. And then he was villainizing nationalism and lionizing social justice and a woman. Embarrassing. So that's that fake thing with Jim from The Office. Mess. So that's that story I was trying to tell you about yesterday. Jim from The Office as Jack Ryan. Embarrassing. Look at this. I told you about this that's going on. I don't know if it's ongoing, but Trump posted about it, real Donald Trump, 3 weeks ago on his IG, and it's about the Tijuana River. You know how I've told you guys about the, what is that called? The sewage going into our ocean and polluting our Imperial Beach in Coronado. And this is a very short snippet of the news report. Mexico, specifically Tijuana. I thought it was Tijuana. So it's Aunt Juana? No, I don't think, but maybe. But look at this.
Mexico continues to send millions of gallons of raw, untreated sewage water into the Tijuana River. The often massive releases are linked to operational issues at Tijuana's primary wastewater treatment facility. It's created a health hazard for communities like Imperial Beach, and as Mexico continues to
Coronado.
send millions of gallons of raw, untreated sewage water.
Nasty, huh? Mexico must take care of its water and sewage problem immediately. It is a true threat to the people of Texas, California, Texas too, and the United States of America. Nasty. Ridiculous. And Base America First had told me about this. Terrible. And then I reported on it earlier, like last year, a year ago, I think, probably, roughly. Shameful, nasty, sick. And it's getting into like the fine mist spray, and it's making people sick. They literally closing beaches in Southern California. Because it's flowing up the ocean towards our land. It's terrible. Terrible. What's not terrible? Bryce Mitchell. Incredibly frugal. Bryce Mitchell was on The Fallen State. A Southern man. Cusses a lot. He's a MMA fighter guy. He co-owns 16 properties with friends despite having made less than $1 million over the course of his UFC career. He won his little thing, huh? He won his little fight with that guy after Jesse Lee interviewed him on The Fallen State, right? I think he's a flat earther, right? Your flat earth boys making investments. I ain't even made Thug Nasty _UFC. He's white, but he calls himself that, okay? Look how I focus and save money like a cheap guy. He says a B word, born before his parents were married or born outside of his parents' marriage. I don't know if that's true, but he just calls himself that. Or he calls himself being like that. You can do what I do. And so he's talking about telling young men how to save money the right way. Don't be a fool with shiny cars. This is what Rick from Hampton, VA tells the black people too. Get acres and rental properties and not Section 8 where they subsidize it for the so-called poor people. Please watch and subscribe. YouTube is getting me out. They banned me so hard, it's actually crazy. I want to help young men. Just call me Hillbilly Dave Ramsey, but I'll beat you up if you mouth off. Nice. Congratulations to Bryce Mitchell. The MMA guys, you can't beat the whiteness out of him. Is that whiteness? To be enterprising? The manliness, I guess you could call it, out of him, even though he's gotten beaten up people. Congratulations. According to Jean Lefebvre, I don't know how to pronounce that word, December 16th, 2025, a little headline thing that he shared on his, screenshot of a headline that he shared on his IG a few weeks back. Right on, shout out, and respect Bryce Mitchell. I like it. I appreciate it. I wish that you would go buy up that place to treat the Mexico water. Be a do-gooder. I like it. I'm encouraged that Trump is talking about the Tijuana TJ River water sewage polluting America. I'm very pleased that we have that going on. Over the I don't want to call it a winter break. Over Christmas vacation, I went to Mount Baldy. I didn't know, but it's actually called Mount San Antonio, a.k.a. Baldy. So, and I went the very day, perhaps, that some hikers got killed. So let me tell you, you may have seen this on IG and elsewhere if you go there.
What's up? This is your LA in a minute, and I want to talk about the highest point in all of Los Angeles County, Mount Baldy, which is actually known as Mount San Antonio and is more than 10,000 feet tall with a history that's quite simply breathtaking. Let's get into it. Clocking in at 10,064 feet, Mount San Antonio lies within the Angeles National Forest and is the highest point in the San Gabriel Mountains, Los Angeles County, and the entire...
His voice, highest point. 10,000 feet, that's higher than a mile. 5280 is a mile. It's almost 2 miles up.
Los Angeles metropolitan area. Indigenous people had utilized the mountain for hunting.
He means American Indians.
Fishing and resources for thousands of years, and the Tongva Gabrieleno people called the mountain Yoat, which means snow. The name of the peak, Mount San Antonio, came from one of two places, either the Padres at the San Gabriel Mission in the 1790s, or wealthy landowner Antonio Marie Lugo in the 1840s. Regardless, the peak is named after Saint Anthony of Padua, a Franciscan priest from the 13th century said to work miracles. The mountain is most often referred to as Mount Baldy, even by locals. And
I've been there, Mount Baldy restaurant.
Many might not even recognize the name Mount San.
It's vibes. I took images of it. And they have like dead butterflies, and I took footage of that in my Hake streams. Because they have dead deer heads, stuff like that.
Antonio. When American settlers first arrived and surveyed the land, they nicknamed this little area Baldy because it was so...
This area, if you're not watching the feed, is barren. Is it like above the tree line, or do they just have a lot of avalanche little thingamajiggers there, or what? But it's snowy, oftentimes, and bare.
Barren, and it dominates the south face visible from Los Angeles.
Cool.
That became the predominant name, and it stuck. Regardless, this beautiful rugged land marks the border between San Bernardino and Los Angeles County, and it is officially known as Mount San Antonio.
Nice. there was all kinds of stuff going on there. Looking for gold, mining, you know, hiking, setting up shop. Very cool. But you can hike there. You can check this out. People go on something called Devil's Backbone. Boo. Look at that. A bit dicey. Devil's Backbone in Mount Baldy. And it's a ridge, steep decline. You can fall and die or get stuck. And if it gets windy up there and people can't get rescued that easily because helicopters don't want to. See, they're not showing the Devil's Backbone, but beautiful Mount Baldy. There's a ski lift and everything. Freezing. For me, you know, you have to bundle up. 3 hikers found dead a week ago by rescue crews in the Devil's Backbone. I don't even know if they knew each other. A 19-year-old man fell about 500 feet, officials said Tuesday. Did that actor end up dying? Remember a year or two ago, an actor went hiking around Mount Baldy, I think, and he died. Or did he die? Actor lost Mount Baldy hike. Let's find out. Julian Sands, that sounds familiar, went missing during a hike on Mount Baldy in January 2023. Remains later found by hikers in June 2023. Oof. 5 months later, an experienced climber who had disappeared in icy conditions, prompting an extensive searches before his body was identified by the Sheriff's Department of San Bernardino County. See, that's the other side from L.A. County. A little bit of a freer county, if you will. Known for films like A Room with a View, Lost in the Wilderness Area of the Mountains. See, I go the normal way where normal people go. It's practically mostly all truck trail. Where I go, you can see me, they can see me, I can see them, and it's fine. It's scary enough going that way. Terrible. Anyway, back to this story where people dying. It's funny because one guy, a 19-year-old, well, it's not funny, but I don't even know if they knew. Happens every darn year when people learn to stay off that darn route after the snowstorms or amidst the snowstorms. Here, let's see if this thing is interesting.
Grim update from sheriff's officials who say this is now a search and recovery operation, a mission that took a wild twist. This all started, we understand, with the call yesterday for an injured hiker that ultimately led to the discovery of 2 other hikers found dead in the wilderness.
Whoa.
Around 9:30 when the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department...
So I check in now. Before, we didn't even have to check in, but now they want you to pay for parking and check in. Write your name, sign a disclaimer, or whatever that thing is. Not a disclaimer.
Helicopter was out here. The chopper circling the area near the Mount Baldy resort and then lowering someone down into the snow. Moments later, it appeared to hoist something or someone back up several times. We're not sure at this point if that was a person who had just been lowered or if they have recovered the remains of any of those missing hikers at this point. The Sheriff's Department says
this is week-old news, okay? So what a mess, huh?
They received a call around 11:30 yesterday morning for that injured 19-year-old hiker. They say he fell about 500 feet near Devil's Backbone.
Yep.
That hiker's friend was able to get to a safe spot with cell coverage and make that call, even sharing GPS coordinates with rescuers.
Whoa.
We also have this video from SkyCal to show you from just after sunrise this morning. It shows the snow and ice on the peak of the mountain, a lot of that freshly fallen in last week's storms.
Isn't LA awesome? You can go to the mountains, you can go to the beach. And the desert.
Conditions last night too windy for...
And the city.
Some of the aerial...
And the suburbs.
Operations. The Sheriff's Department says a chopper spotted the missing hiker yesterday, and in that search...
And you don't have to use public transportation.
Discovered the other 2 hikers, but conditions were too extreme for the chopper to make that rescue.
Yeah.
So they called in for help from the LA County Fire Department around 7:30 in the evening. Fortunately, officials say the windy conditions continued and prevented rescue operations by that assisting crew as well. but an air medic was lowered in those dangerous conditions last night and confirmed those 3 hikers on the ground had died. And to be clear, the Sheriff's Department says the 19-year-old hiker involved in that initial call yesterday was not out with the other 2 hikers that they discovered dead in the wilderness here.
Whew.
What happened to them remains a mystery at this point.
Crazy.
None of these hikers have been identified yet.
What a mess. And here's like Devil's Backbone Trail, like you can see pictures, slides if you're watching the feed. And that's tricky to be on. I mean, it's narrow, it looks flattish. Devil's Backbone Trail, a narrow ridge located on Mount Baldy, California, known for its exposure, strong winds, 50 miles an hour or even higher, and lack of room for error. Experienced hikers can still be at risk. Serious danger, narrow ridge, steep drop-off, sudden violent wind gusts, rapid weather changes, no protection from exposure. Experience does not eliminate environmental risk. Duh. 3 hikers reported in distress. No, 1 was reported in distress. And then they found the bodies. They don't even necessarily know each other. So you could be over there, die, and they don't necessarily check the records, or maybe you didn't check in, or what. Extreme turbulence, that's to say wind, right? Air resistance. Crazy. Very pretty, though. Terrible. They don't call it Devil's Backbone for nothing. So stay away from that. Okay. I have a little bit left to do. I don't want to... Okay, this stuff is cringe-worthy, but men don't cringe. This is a gal who is into the gal stuff. How much did Malala weigh when she raised her voice for girls' education? Says this woman who's eating. Don't harass her. These women are values and remembered for their valued probably and remembered for their bravery, ideas, and minds, not their size or shape. Before recovery, I definitely considered my body to be the most valuable part about me, but with time this can be unlearnt. Through recovery you can discover what success means to you and how you want to be remembered. But she's replacing one ego thing for another. And I think I'll spare you the music. Terrible. What was Marie Curie's waist size when she discovered radium? And it's music, right? How much did Florence Nightingale weigh when she founded modern nursing? Remember Florence Nightingale? I remember that name. So this woman is still into woman stuff, and she thinks being into woman stuff and ego is going to help her ego being into her weight stuff and appearance. Did Rosa Parks, oh, this is gross, have a, cover your ears, kids, and eyes, kids, thigh gap when she took a seat in that bus? And I think the point of this is to look and sound silly. You don't know because it does not matter. I say these young girls that look like little girls, and they're all into the brainwashing about body positivity, ED, eating disorder awareness, eating disorder recovery, hashtag mental health, hashtag women, hashtag girls. Terrible. What she doesn't know is some of those are horrible women or not good things. You're going to replace one miserable thing for another. I wish that Rosa Parks had just been concerned about looking pretty. Although she didn't single-handedly take down American freedom to segregate. And those black buses that were doing fine until they integrated them. Eating disorders and ego women. Sick stuff. Hake is such a hater. Florence Nightingale did more in her short life than Hake did in his entire life. All right. Nugget Man, I just wanted to cover it. It is the Hake Report. That's so me. All right, and this last little thing that I wanted to cover that was interesting somewhat to me, how Adam looked. Just wanted to go through this stuff. Scientists at Princeton built a 3D model of how Adam, the first human, might have looked per Intel's 22 weeks ago. Researchers at Princeton University used advanced facial reconstruction techniques. Maybe Rick was right. And data modeling to create a 3D rendering of what Adam, the biblical first human, might have looked like. The model, because Rick from Hampton, VA, says that he thinks Adam and Eve were mixed. And doesn't this guy look like he's mixed? Watch what the comments are going to say. I'm sure you guys are already... Vin Diesel. Yeah, exactly. Why? The academic project is not a literal depiction of the biblical figure, but rather a scientific estimate based on the early Homo sapiens from East Africa. So claim they. Reconstruction aligns with evolutionary timeline and uses skull data from one of the oldest known human remains. The model went viral for its unexpected resemblance to modern figures, sparking a debate online. Scientists clarify it represents a composite of early human traits rather than a single historical individual. Princeton University Smithsonian Magazine, some guy says prehistoric diesel, and he only got one like. Adam lived quarter mile at a time. I don't get that one. Vin pre-diesel. And they're making references to Fast and Furious because that's what Vin Diesel is famous for. The Fast and Furious movies. What even is Vin Diesel? But maybe Rick was right that Adam and Eve were mixed. I don't get how you make the first human beings mixed. Because didn't they have to have parents who are of different races to be mixed? But maybe Rick is right. I don't know. Right on. Okay. Nice. Thank you, Vin Diesel. No. Okay. I wanted to mention something about a competitor of mine. He seems like he's on his last legs, Scott Adams. I wonder if I can force quit that. Scott Adams seems like he's on his last legs. He says that he doesn't expect to survive this. At least that's the last that I had heard. Oh, boy. Scroll down over here. I had called him a trooper, right? Is this the one? Somebody said he's turning Christian. But here he is. Devastating health update from right before we came back on the Jesse Lee Peterson show and the Hake Report. I talked to my radiologist yesterday, and it's all bad news. The odds of me recovering, essentially zero. January will probably be a month of transition for me one way or another. And he's, here Here, let's see if I can play a little bit so you can hear.
I talked to my radiologist yesterday. He was working on the day before New Year's, and it's all bad news. So the odds of me recovering are essentially zero.
He had cancer.
So
or has.
I'll give you any updates if that changes, but it won't. So there's no chance I'll get my feeling back in my legs.
He's paralyzed in his legs. No feeling either.
And I've got some ongoing heart failure, which is making it difficult to breathe sometimes during the day. But at the moment, I can breathe, and I'm not in any pain.
Nice.
However,
I guess
you should prepare yourself that January will be probably a month of transition, one way or the other. Now, I haven't made any decisions, but it was all bad news. No good news at all. So I will keep doing this as
and he doesn't sound good. He sounds weak too.
long as it makes sense, because I like doing it.
He's a
Keeps me
trooper.
busy. You know, what's weird is that I have much bigger problems than the stuff I'm talking about in the news, but I'm so interested in like what's happening in the world that it's very engaging, totally engaging. So after the show, I will continue doing a Robots Read News comic, which I do every day. I try to. And I'll try to make some new comics, Dilbert comics. And I'll just act like nothing's happening. I'll just pretend I have no problems, which is weirder. It's easier than you think. Then I'll take some painkillers if I need them. There's no real limit to what I can take at this point. And I'll probably smoke massive amounts of marijuana.
No! I disclaim.
Because it puts me into a stupor that actually feels kind of good. In my current situation, if I do a full day's work, which I plan to do, I allow myself to enter the stupor zone. I mean, yesterday, for example, I was doing work and watching the Warriors game, high as a kite. It wasn't bad. The only thing that's really bugging me at the moment is the inability to breathe if I get one of these coughing attacks. And that could last hours. It could last 8 to 12 hours.
Man.
So it's 8 to 12 hours of hell. But it's not always hell. So, but things are changing fast. So I thought I'd give you a little update on that. Has anybody gotten an update on Victor Davis Hanson?
Another guy.
Because I know he had some major surgery, but we don't know what that was about. I hope he's doing better than I am.
I watched a bit of his, or listened to a bit of his Sunday morning show, I think. He was doing a Sunday, I think it was Sunday, while I was out walking around the neighborhood. Very interesting, man. Very influential. An independent thinker. An interesting person. He loved his interview with JLP on The Fallen State several years ago. He liked Jesse's energy. He said, "Is it love?" So shout out to real Scott Adams. Let's see what his... Oh, Lord. Let's see if it shows up. I'll just search him on the internet. Chances of cancer recovery essentially zero. NBC News 5 days ago. It's all bad news was the news. So, but he still is. It's not was. So I was errantly last year, meaning last week or last month or 2 months ago, saying rest in peace, Scott Adams, when he's still kicking. Well, not kicking because he doesn't have feeling or mobility in his legs, but still punching. Still kicking metaphysically. Much respect. All right, let me get to Rick in Hampton, VA before the time runs out. Rick, how you doing, sir? Thank you for calling and holding.
My brother James, man, what is going on? What's going on, brother James?
I learned that Princeton people might think that you're right, that Adam and maybe Eve were mixed.
I believe so, because Egypt was is descendants of Ham, which was the black folks come from supposedly come from Ham, the dark people, and then my white brothers come from Japheth.
Right. That's
then,
so goes
Arab,
the theory about Noah's 3 children, Ham, Shem, and Japheth.
Oh, you'll find it in Genesis chapter 10. Chapter 10 and 9.
Yeah, that's where they... It's funny that people read the Bible and surmise things about the natural world and race and stuff like that.
Oh, man, yeah, man. You have everybody... The truth of the matter, everybody has a picture of God. Everybody see most of the white Jesus. That's Cesar Borgia. But the problem is every race has a picture of Jesus Christ. The Asians have their version. The Hispanics have theirs. The black has theirs. Whites has theirs. But the bottom line, you'll never find a physical description of Jesus Christ in the Bible.
Nice. That's right.
No description.
Yeah.
And I believe he was a biracial person or either an Arab descendant type person, white features, black features, pecan features, He had all kind of features, because even when Egypt started mixing with other races, it got lighter and lighter.
Nice.
So, but you hear a lot of blacks say, everybody came from us. I said, look, if you get 2 black people, they ain't got no genes but the black genes, they're going to make a black child.
Right.
If one is a biracial person, that baby going to come out in the middle. They even got like the Bible Museum in Kentucky. It's, man, you talk about some good education, man. It's good education now, man, and that's where the races come from Noah and his 3 sons. Adam and Eve was biracial. You get all these different colors of people, but yet, the blacks fight over that. Everybody came from black folks. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
And now, you're getting the whites are doing it now, and then the Jews and, we're God's chosen people. But like I said before, most Jews, to my experience, are liberal. And to me, if the people are being disobedient to God's commands, God can't put his shield of protection and blessings on them. They're being disobedient. Now, the land of Israel, I believe that, that can be because land don't affect people, just the people. You know what I'm saying, James?
Right. Somewhat, yes.
And that's all I'm saying. I'm with Bill Lockwood on that. Israel's blessings are conditional, just like everybody else's.
Right.
They don't be automatically blessed because God's chosen. They have to be obedient too, because guess what? God chastised them when they were disobedient.
True.
When they kept worshiping idols. God kept enslaving them.
Yeah.
Anytime you want to pick a fight with God, like a mush him in the face type, start a fight with God, start worshiping idols. Because if you were reading the Bible, every race that started worshiping idols got enslaved.
Interesting.
And that's everybody. Yep.
I mean,
Israelites did.
Idolatry is slavery. So naturally, you would end up into real, natural physical slavery as well.
Yeah, that's why it's the first command in the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Right.
Thou shalt not even worship even a graven image. Those are the first 2. God said, don't have no other gods. I'm your God.
Yeah.
That's why God got so upset with Israel when they asked for a king. I want a king like the other nations.
Yeah.
And God even warned them how they was going to be, and they still wanted a king. God, guess what? God served them what they wanted, and then they regret it.
True.
I just want to say, did you see that video Jesse showed when those black kids was beating the white girl up?
Yeah, in the high school library.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know who I blame for that?
Who?
I blame, of course, the Democratic Party. I blame white liberals. I blame black liberals. That include the black politicians, that black preacher, and that black civil rights worker. All those groups, all liberals, period, help keep blacks in that victim mindset that they need the government. and they be talking systematic laws. And, you know, you hear blacks talking about the systematic laws, but yet they vote for the politicians that enforce those and make those laws. They vote for the Democratic Party over and over and over, and don't even look at the policies.
Yeah.
And then talk about systematic racism.
Well, there is definitely a justification for hatred given by the Democrat Party, by the mainstream media, and all those people that you mentioned. They definitely justify and validate people's black people's all anger is misplaced, but misplaced anger, and it's out of control.
But you know what?
Like Jesse has said before, I've wondered a little bit what their homes are like, that they're like this. And then you see this stuff online, they let them act out online, and it's like justified, and it's crazy.
Because they stay in power when blacks act crazy like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sad, and that's why too. That's another reason why liberals. That's why they love the public school system, because that's where they mainly educate people to be liberals. The public school system.
Terrible.
You know, and it's sad, and that's why the Democrats don't never like to cut money from the public schools, because that's the assembly line to teach the kids how to be liberals.
True. Thank you, Rick. I got to run.
Oh, okay, Dave. Thanks for taking my call. Love my brothers and sisters who are listening, and my sisters. I'll see you tomorrow, James. Be safe, my brother.
Thank you. And you as well.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
Yes, sir. Love y'all. Be blessed.
All right. In the last couple of minutes here, I got to read this super chat from a couple of coffees, from Cesar or Cesar. Sup, Hake? Man, I missed most of the phone call with Ronnie in Ohio. He's always saying something I can't agree with, but he's still one of the faves. Regarding yesterday's phone call with David from Ocala, he's completely right about why old school people are racist against blacks. Remember being a teen and hearing grown Dominicans having a prejudice against blacks, and me thinking, wow, old Dominicans can be so racist, says Cesar or Cesar, who's Dominican. But in reality, most Hispanics share the same sentiment. Indeed, they do. They're worse than any whites I ever met. It's because of their constant negative behavior, which I believe started going downhill post-1940s. Yeah. All my Hispanic friends who are like racist, and I didn't even know about it, so-called racist, no such thing, of course, but they have this impression about black Americans and Asians, the Asians who have this impression too. It's because they grew up in L.A., They moved here, and they first started out in L.A., in the city, and then they moved to the suburbs. Just like the whites. And their behavior is only getting worse while people like that pro-black caller on JLP today, Jared, I think Jerome actually, like something like that, keep having that mama spirit and saying things like, leave black people alone, they've been through a lot. Shocked, wide-eyed, frowning emoji. Have an awesome show, man. Cool sunglasses emoji. Indeed, they're Cesar or Cesar. And then you have blind people like Ronnie saying they hate blacks only because of the color of their skin, only because they're black. And then he says, oh, I only judge based on their morality. When you hear the so-called racists talking about them, they're talking about the morality and what they're doing so much, and it's so out of control. And then you have these black mama males like Jerome and Ronnie talking about, oh, racism is real. There really are people like that. And it's all about watching others blind to self. Terrible. Anyway, this has been the Hake Report. American Anchor Baby is up next, y'all. I'll have to get to the rest of your super chats later. Oh, no. Let me see if this works. Oh, well, peace in the Middle East, or at least in your hearts. Adios, America. Punchy TV happening today. Take care. Bye.